Welcome back to SevTech Ages of the Sky, and today, well, I'm going to take a quick break from Age 4 machinery shenanigans to actually get to, well, not necessarily Age 4, but Astral Sorcery, overpowered shenanigans. Yes, so today we are going to be going and getting to Astral Sorcery stuff. Let's get going, shall we? Right, so what do we need to do for Astral Sorcery? Well, first of all, off camera, I built the other structures. So this is the infusement altar. It's in the book, structure, and as well as the Starlight Infuser. Again, this is straightforward crafting. There's nothing new in there. There are no new components. And then 12 buckets of liquid starlight. I appreciate this is a little bright right now because I've got lights everywhere. the lights from Blood Magic are amazing. I use them everywhere once I can just to get rid of all the torches, and that's working perfectly well. So 12 liquid starlight buckets, and just keep your eye out for them, because as this thing infuses stuff, for example, converting aquamarine over to resonating gems, like this, see the particle effects, it will sometimes use up a bucket of starlight from the surrounding things. It has just there, so do keep a tank nearby. Just refill that, otherwise it won't work for another second craft. But otherwise, you've got that's your infusion, and it works very, very well. Now, the other structure is the attunement altar. It's gigantic. You may see me build it or have it in the background in earlier episodes, but I hadn't really finished it off. I was waiting to do an actual dedicated episode on Astral Sorcery, which is a good point for today, really. So in here, I've got this already laid out for the Armara attunement, and I have already attuned myself, but I haven't gone far into it because there's been no significant choices so far. It's just one thing. So I'll show you that in a second. But you put the attunement altar down, you go to your book, and you take out a constellation paper with shift right click from your astral tome. Take it out of there. In my case, Armara. You put it in your left hand, and then you don't see anything because it's daytime. Now, when it's nighttime, you'll get blue particle effects appearing in certain places, and wherever they appear, you just go and pop down a spectral relay, and you're done. And you'll want to keep like 8 or 9 of those available for different constellations if you want to tune to different things. Once that's done, and if Mara's up in the sky, etc., you can just right-click on the attunement altar, I think, or get close to it, and you will attune to that thing. So, which is exactly what I did, and just so we don't have to wait for several nights for me to do that or show that on camera, that's already done. So let's just go and do that. So what is attunement then? So I've attuned myself to Armara, and that gives you a whole series of perks. This used to be like Skyrim, whereby you'd choose destruction in Skyrim, for example, and you'd have about 8 or 10 points you could spend, but you wouldn't. There's not much choice in that kind of system. You could choose left branch or right branch in a couple of cases in Skyrim's choices, but it's not hugely confusing. However, they must have gone and played Path of Exile, or at least another game that Path of Exile may have been inspired from. I'm not sure. The only game I've ever really seen this is in Path of Exile, maybe another one in the same genre. Can't remember if that is also something. Yeah, I can't remember which of the other one is. But perks. Okay, so perks is no longer just a separate perk tree per attunement. It's a single big tree. You'll see I'm level 4, which is quite low level. And all I did is take damage to get that, by the way, because I'm attuned to Armara. So Armara gains experience by taking damage. So if we zoom out, and out, and out, and out, and out, you'll see that you have these 5 central nodes. And these are the ones you choose for attunement. So you can attune yourself to any of those, and each with a different one, you gain experience with a different thing. So for example, Evitas, you get experience by building things, or VCO, you get experience by traveling the world. Yeah. However, you can go into the center and take Singularity, and then you can add all of these in, and then you'll get experience from pretty much whatever you're doing. So if you wanted to level, you could take those, and then you could use the star items. So there is the Shifting Star and the Irradiant Star, and they let you respec those points if you wanted to earn points really quickly from all sorts of stuff. I think I prefer to just grind on one particular activity, which is taking damage. And there's a problem with that, in that we don't have a current way to regenerate. And as I said, I've only advanced level 4 because there's literally no choice from here. I have to go there, I have to go there, I have to go there, and there's nothing really I need to choose. Where we're heading, however, is if you type flight up here, very bottom of the tree, you'll see something called spectral wings. The VCO mantle now grants flight instead of elytra gliding. So what's the VCO Mantle? The VCO Mantle is one of the Mantle of Stars. And all that it is that Mantle of Stars is then recrafted. So there's a Mantle of Stars recipe. You make one and then you can recraft it. So for example, VCO with some of these extras around the outside, I'll show what they are, in an iridescent altar. And then you, in this case, it's VCO. That's the constellation. The altar has to have an attunement thing on it. And then you end up with the Mantle of Stars VCO, which will give you creative flight. It will not, however, give us regeneration, which is what we need to basically level up. Regeneration is instead provided by Avitas? Avitas? Yes, so sapling stuff and stuff like that. So you have to have something that's tuned to Avitas on your altar, and then you again need to use an iridescent altar. So iridescent altar is needed before we can do this, and iridescent altar requires resonating gems, which requires that infuser. So you can see why I was going and creating other stuff. So in here also you need a celestial crystal to do that rather than our typical rock crystals, and we need to actually upgrade those. So yes, there's a bunch of background astral sorcery stuff that you need to do to get creative flight. But before we get there, I have been running out of Stardust. So the most important thing, I think, at this stage of astral sorcery, because Stardust, you have to go and get those samples from the top of islands, and only if the islands are rock crystal islands, and you have to go and look around for them. I want a renewable way to actually get, or at least an easier way to get to Stardust. And that is not too hard, not too far away, because we can make a collector crystal. Now, the collector crystal is basically the crystals that you find in Astral Sorcery temples in normal games. One in a normal game, it's a Skyline Island game, so we have to actually craft them, and all of these stuff looks like stuff we can already do. So I'm just going to go and craft one, hopefully. Let's just see if I've got all the stuff on me. I've got this stupid purity and size rock crystal that you would normally use for something like a weapon or a tool. I thought we'd do this just to see if actually, I think it will probably affect the how good the collector crystal is. It does it in a lot of ways, so it's probably worthwhile, and it needs to be attuned first. Okay, so let's just see if we can actually attune it to something. Do I just get my... Yeah, let's just demonstrate the attunement effect in the game. So if I hold out in my left hand, you'll see there are the blue particles where you put the spectral relay. And can we just right click, well, take you out of it for a second. Can we just right click you, or do I have to throw it on there? It's probably not up in the sky at the moment for Amara. So what we could do is just take a look. Oh, it's raining. I hate rain. The only problem to get rid of it, I sleep in the bed and then it becomes daytime. So that's even worse. But yes, I need to attune a crystal. So I will do that and then come back once I've got a constellation that's one, up in the sky, and two, actually available for attunement. And here we go. Evitas is actually up in the sky. I just had to guess one that was actually around, and you get this special effect. And if I throw this on, it should then get another special effect, which is showing it being attuned. So this is being attuning that crystal to Evitas. So let's just watch that complete. It shouldn't take very long at all. There it goes. And a ball effect. Pretty much the same thing will happen if you go and stand in there yourself, and that's how you actually attune. This is the effect. So once that's done, we should be able to go and then craft, in this case, an Evitas collector crystal, I think, or collect starlight from Evitas, collect starlight from Evocio, etc, etc. So yeah, it shouldn't probably matter too much which one we actually go with, but let's get it up and placed. And here's the effect. With your crafted linking tool, you can link your collector crystal to your lens to what was iron ore, but is now star metal ore. So if we just get that replaced. Oh, it doesn't say harvestable. I need a different pick. 1 second. Maybe my abyssalite pickaxe? Yep, harvestable. There we go. So star metal it is. And we can just place another block down. And there it goes. It should start conversion over into star metal. Depends really on how much starlight you have coming in, how fast this is, but it's certainly a lot faster than going looking on the other islands. So you can convert these across. To get more iron ore, you can get them from hollow hills in Twilight Forest. So that's a straightforward way to get star metal. And there is one other use of starlight transmutation, which is what this whole process is called, and that is in netherrack. So instead of going through the stoked kiln anymore to make nether brick, you can just do it directly from netherrack. It's just by putting that block in the same place. So you should have that whole process shortcut, basically, if you wanted to just put netherrack down. In my case, I'm perfectly happy just getting star metal ores, which we can basically then process, either smelt it up into star metal ingots, or I think we can just get it straight into Stardust with the grindstone. Yeah, so, and it also has a chance to double the output, so using the quartz grindstone is perhaps a good idea to get Stardust, which means we've got unbound, we've unbound our progress in Astral Sorcery, because previously it wasn't bound. Our rock crystals, they're everywhere in this particular pack, in the islands. You just get so many of them that it's not even a thing. In normal playthroughs, you find 2 or 3 rock crystal blocks in one location, then you have to go for another location and use the Phosic Resonator and all kinds of stuff. Here, you find one island and you've got hundreds of rock crystals, but very, very few star metal until you get to this point. So please do this as soon as you can before you move on to lots of other things. You can get achievement easily enough, and you can get this up easily enough without too much Stardust, but you're going to want this before you head into Mantle of Stars. So, for example, Mantle of Stars, the crafting recipe there, we've got 4 Stardust, 5 Stardust, and a star metal. Just for the base item itself, before we even get into looking like getting the Evitas one, in order to, that's another 4 Stardust, and the 5 Stardust to be able to make the regen version of the Mantle of Stars. So yes, so what I'm going to want to do, I think, is get another attuned crystal. I think it's an attuned crystal, but we need the iridescent altar to be able to do any of that. Yeah, so that's the next step, and that is celestial crystals. So that's probably a good point to talk about those. These are celestial crystal clusters, and the way you get your celestial crystals from, once they're full size, you get like a particle effect when they're full size. You can use this anywhere. Take yourself a bucket of liquid starlight, throw in a rock crystal of any kind and a stardust of any kind into the same block, and you'll find these appearing. Now, you can also speed this up a little bit, not during daytime, of course, but during nighttime, we should be able to speed this up by essentially putting in the path of starlight here, for example. So we've got this whole thing, and that should make our crystal cluster grow quickly. When you break them once they're full size, do never break them before they are full size. You should get some Stardust back. You should get the crystal cluster back. So you should never lose Stardust on this whole thing, but you may even gain Stardust sometimes when you break them when they're full, or if you have a fortune pick. Always, they will give you more Stardust back than you put in. So you can always make Stardust once you have this process set as well. So then you can use Stardust for whatever you like, making other stuff, etc. And away you go. We don't have an arc furnace yet to make star metal from Stardust, so that's why we have the starlight transmutation going on. So this will then basically at nighttime basically grow fast. So once we've got them full size, we'll then be able to harvest them all, the ones over here as well, and get ourselves a few of the better crystals. And here we have a max size cluster. So let's just break this. And you'll see we get Stardust back, but we also get a Celestial Crystal back. And it's, wow, that's quite a high purity. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that high, but you get a randomized thing back. It doesn't matter which crystals you start with, they re-roll basically. So use your terrible crystals for converting, and then you'll see what comes out of it. And that's, I don't think Evitas is around in the night sky tonight to have this grow faster, but hey, it's fine otherwise. And again, the altar isn't activating, even though this is tuned to Evitas. So again, I assume that that's just the wrong night for it. Well, we'll have to find out that another way if that's not the case. And in here, then we have to look at the iridescent altar. So I have everything I need to convert that across, and hopefully it's not going to turn to daytime before I can right click. Oh no! Please no. Oh, it's got. Oh, it's too late. I could put extra spectral relays here with lenses on them. I suppose I should, but I think it's actually coming daytime. Yeah, because it's not all the way to the end. Yeah, see, it's dropping already. Oh, annoying. Do I have a spectral relay? I have a couple of glass lenses. Is that enough to restore it? I doubt that it actually is. But hey, is that the same thing? I think it is the same thing. Is it enough? Oh, it's boosted it just a little bit. Oh, can I rescue this just by, you know, cannibalizing other things? Probably not, to be honest, but hey, why not? Gotta try everything you can in desperation sometimes. Oh, let's just throw another spectral relay in, and there's Dawn. Oh no, it's gonna just drop, and I'm gonna have to wait for another night. So disappointing. But I have extra boosted altars now. I'm gonna have to cut forwards to tomorrow night. And now it works, of course, because it's nighttime again, and that's a huge particle effect. And of course, because this is the top tier altar, we're going to have to recraft the altar once it's done. So usual kind of wait and then, you know, rebuild. So as soon as the iridescent altar's put in, you can put in the recipe for the Mantle of Stars, which is here, but you do need to put in the blocks at the top. You don't need to alter any of the rest of the structure, it's just extra marble bricks at the top to make this whole thing work. And then you have a slot in here for an attuned crystal. For example, I could put an attuned rock crystal here to make this whole thing aligned to, in this case, Evitas. But that's not going to matter for this much, because for this crafting recipe, because it's not actually specific to any one thing. Yep, so just get it going. That gets us our base Mantle of Stars, but that won't be the attuned version. That's obviously going to need other bits and pieces, to which I'm going to need saplings, I'm going to need more Stardust, and that's pretty much it, I think. Oh, and some seeds and yeah, sugarcane, but yeah, I'm going to need 5 more Stardust, so that's going to take me a little while just to convert stuff across and then grind it down, etc. Usual stuff, but well, we've got more stuff here available, so because Evitas is in the sky right now and everything's attuned to Evitas over here, this should be quicker tonight to convert across than anything else. And over here you can see that it's in the sky because the attunement altar is activated. If it's not, or if it's not available, then of course that's going to be that. Oh, also in here I just went and attuned a celestial crystal that happened to be really high purity, and you can grow that up to a maximum size. I think it's 800 or 1,000, I think, for the celestial crystals, so you could use that to make pretty good stuff. But I'm not going to worry about it just yet. The main thing is celestial flight. Celestial? Oh, I suppose celestial creative flight. Yes, so are you ready for that? Have you crafted? Yes, you have. There's my Mantle of Stars. Good. 2 armor toughness, 7 armor. Not great. Of course, if we just have a look and just strip this stuff off, put this stuff on, well, it's not great so far, is it? It's going to get a lot more powerful than that, especially once we get the regen effect. And here we go, around the outside we've got the dust, sapling, sugarcane and seeds, and yep, you can now craft. And that's obviously all the other stuff in the middle. Things are fading because it's daytime. Please, come on, make me my mantle. Well, we'll see. And no, it failed. Or at least it didn't fail, it paused. This important part about this tier of altar, you'll see there's a new sort of yellow bar now available. It'll stay like this until it goes dark again, at which point it'll resume the craft. So you don't have to worry about anything. Just come back a little bit later. Well, when it turns to night again. And yeah, I've only got a few blocks of that done in the night time, but enough to get our mantle anyway. I'll see you once it's finished. And when you're making these advanced crafts with the spectral relay, do make sure, or rather monitor, that these things sometimes ask for items in a specific relay, not just anywhere you like. So if there's an orange beam coming from that down to one of them, watch out for it, because it's saying the wrong items in there. Just you need to swap them around till the right items in there. But that's all done. And now I have a Mantle of Stars with Evitas. So I'm going to just head back to the base and let's see if this is actually any good. It'd be a terrible waste if not, but hopefully it is. So let's head over here. And we're going to head to our saw. Yes, no reason at all. I'm just fancy a walk over here and just standing without any of my existing armor. I don't want to take damage on that. And yeah, let's just see how good this is at regenning things. Hopefully it is. So if I stand out of that, is it going to regen once I'm out of hunger? Well, it's certainly recovering. Let me just continue to just take a lot more damage, and let's see if it actually does anything there. Okay, so I am taking more damage. My damage is down to 5 hearts. Well, my health is down to 5 hearts now. Am I getting anything from our Evitas? Doesn't look particularly good so far. Does this need to be powered up in any way? And yes, that seems to be either a bug or intentional disablement. I'm tending towards bug because there is another method to get regeneration and get us really overpowered with that. in the pack, so and it's also in Astral Sorcery, so it does make no sense for one to work and the other one not. So yeah, just to double check, if I go up here, yep, I'm not getting any kind of regeneration effect, so that one's useless. However, I did go and craft the Vicio one, so that should hopefully work. We'll see once we get everything together. Let me put my normal armor back on. And to get the other regeneration effect, we need to go and craft another structure. So I went and put that up. It's 9 by 9 by 2. Ignore these stone blocks. So in fact, I'm going to just take them back down again. I don't need them for now. And we can still put, obviously, iron ore here, and it'll work just fine. So we have this structure here, 9 by 9 by 2. It is mentioned in the book. It is underneath rituals on the right hand side of this whole achievement section. So if you have a look in here, yeah, so crystal achievement, and then off to ritual pedestal and ritual acceleration. Don't think I'm going to need ritual acceleration just yet, but ritual pedestal is going to be very useful. So in here you make a pedestal and you build this structure, and it's just their usual marble stuff, and on that structure you put your pedestal and then you put an attuned crystal, and it has an effect based on what the crystal is attuned to. So here I have regeneration 2, which is nice, but my saw's down there. So we need to do one more thing to move this effect. We can leave the altar up here in our nice Astral Sorcery area, but we need to move this effect down there. And for that, we need a ritual anchor. You make 2 of them, and they essentially, you put one of them up here, one of them where you want it, and then you link the 2 with your linking tool, and then you should get the effect where you want it. In my case, right next to my saw. And here we are, we've got the ritual anchor right next to my saw, and you can see there's a blue effect next to it. And I've got my linking tool, which I've linked now. You put the anchor 5 blocks above the pedestal above there, right click it with the linking tool, then you jump off with your elytra stuff because you can't switch the item, you have to keep holding your linking tool. So you glide down, in my case, to my base, and then I can run over here and right click this one, and then everything is done. So let's see how this goes. In fact, let me just make sure I take off my Mantle of Stars first. Yeah, so that's fine. So right now I've got the regen 2 effect, and this is just leveling me quite nicely. Obviously I won't do that on camera because that's really quite annoying, but it's more than capable of keeping up with the saw. In fact, you could probably have other sources of damage. You could stand in lava, whatever you actually wanted to do there. Should be fine to actually to keep up with this whole thing. So, do I need to look in here, or am I looking in somewhere else? What was I talking about? Oh, yes, the book. I wish you could get to these perks other than looking at the book, but they can see. Oh, we've already got some more choices available. There's one here for additional movement speed and dodge chance, but nope, we're going straight for the flight and straight to the outside. And then I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more levels. And here we go. I think I've got all the levels I need. I think I'm all the way down to the bottom. Let's zoom out. And yep, it looks like I do have the levels. I can take the last one down here, and the Vicio Mantle now grants flight instead of elytra gliding. Okay, so where's my Vicio Mantle? There it is. And can I double jump? I can. Oh, creative flight. And it's not a terribly fast creative flight, but it is a creative flight nonetheless. And you Volokite can go away, at least for the moment. Of course, that will not work if I want to combine this with my existing stuff that stops fall damage, so perhaps you want to look for fall damage next in the tree. And with Creative Flight comes a bunch of easier to access stuff around the entire game. However, even easier is to create a Celestial Gateway, which is what I've done upstairs with Astral Sorcery. And you create this central block. It's not terribly hard to make them, all stuff that we've done before. And if you step onto the middle block and then look up and around, you'll see any other Celestial Gateways, even if they're in different dimensions, and you hold down Sneak, and you get animation, and you arrive here. So I don't even need to fly up to here anymore, which is pretty good. And we can add these to other places later, and they're quite nice. They can build them into the ground, etc., and everything like that. So I went and built the last couple of things I wanted, at least for today, for in Astral Sorcery, which is the observatory and the telescope. The reason why I want them is because in order to unlock the last bits of the perk tree, you need to trace everything in the sky, pretty much. Where's my Astral Sorcery book gone? I can never find the thing when I want it. Ah, there it is. Astral Tome. So over here on the perks, I got to max level, stood on the sword for a while, and then respec using the Irradiant Star, and then I've now got something more finalized here. At least for me, you can obviously choose your own. The things that won't, as you actually unlock this constellations, the outer ring will become more unlocked. So see right now, this one is unable to grasp the effects of this perk, means you haven't traced that constellation in the sky yet. So if you get any of those, that's all you have to do. You have to go and use your telescope, use your observatory, and trace them out. Pretty good. However, for what I've chosen for my particular build, and you can obviously maybe post below your best builds for other people on this front, but I went outwards from Armara. I went and picked up, first of all, I went and picked up Diamond Skin, then carried on down here, went straight down all the way down to Flight, and that was cool. That was both of those essentials. I went and picked up Bigger Stomach because, well, it was kind of very, very close and very close to the path I took, and I didn't want to path away from it too much, so I took that. Possibly a better one might be Phoenix Blessing, but I'm not sure how many times I'm going to need saving from death. Yeah, well, you know, I'm being optimistic right now. And then down here I went for the gem node. Now the gems are easy to create, but you get random ones. So you'll see here I got 6% increased movement speed, 5% increased armor, and 6% increased critical damage multiplier. To get gems and to craft them, again, they're random. Just do the same thing as you would by creating celestial crystals, but instead of the usual Stardust, use glowstone instead, and you'll get these most of the time, which are useless. But some of or at least they're useless so far. They are growing, I think, a little bit. We'll see what happens when they get to full size. But some of them you come up with different colors, and for example, let me just remove this one from my tree so you'll see what they come out like. So if I just right click there, it comes into my inventory. And Ilium Gem, so those are those three things. As far as I've read from Reddit, you get more effects during the day, but they are worse in terms of power. In nighttime you get fewer effects, but they are an increased amount of power. So I went for fewer but increased amount of power. And to put them in, you just do the reverse thing. So you just move down here to the gem socket, right click, and then choose the gem you want from your inventory, and it slots into your tree. So you can have, there are more than that around. There's another gem socket there. There are more than that around if you want to customize your tree. The really powerful ones are these at the edge. So you'll see here, for example, this one is 3% increased perk effect per allocated perk. But other modifiers to perk effect no longer apply. So basically, anything that would be, for example, more perk effect, if one existed, that would reduce its effect. But in the case of most of these things, this is pretty cool for actually getting increased effect. It has, however, got a couple of nodes in front of it, which are perk experience, and that's entirely useless because I'm now max level. Other than that, I just took nodes for more armor, and more, increased elemental resistances, and one I did maximum health just because they were close to my path. More or less, in terms of a wording, is a better effect than increased or decreased. One is multiplicative, the other is additive. Just go for the ones that say more instead of increased where you can. Okay, so it's following the Path of Exile terminology there. Other than that, that's my tree for the moment. I may well respec it again once I have new creative flight options down here, which will let me save, I don't know, a good 6-8 points, and then I'll probably take out of Bigger Stomach, and that'll get me even more points back, and then I can head off either into this one and then off over here somewhere, which will get me sort of more armor and stuff like that. So yeah, for now that's pretty nice and overpowered. Just don't stand on your sword while you're wearing a Mantle of Stars. Just thought. Yes, that is pretty good. So what do you do once you have creative flight and you have more armor and you have an ability to fight in the air? Well, where's my nice points to look at over here? There we go. So over in this direction, I have End Portal. Yes, it's time to fight the dragon. And because these rooms contain lava in this pack, you'll probably find that they also have our friendly little magma creatures. So you probably want to get out your sword, because they're invulnerable to ranged weapons, more's the pity, and get your sword out and basically go and hit them. So in we go, and you will get set alight, of course, but it's fine. We're dealing with enough damage with this kind of thing not to be a problem. And you'll see here, well, that's another entrance. I removed the silverfish spawner, which appears here. And let's just pop in our usual stuff. All 12 have to be filled in this one. Maybe you'll find other ones later. But we are pretty much ready to rock as far as the End Dragon. I'm I'm sure I don't need to give you the rundown on the dragon and everything else like that. I don't think I'm going to gather some Dragon's Breath from this one, but I'll resurrect it in future and we'll do that again. Usual kind of stuff around the dragon, nothing, you know, surprising in this pack. Take out all the stuff on top of the pillars, and then your Ender Dragon is rather, well, vulnerable. So we can shoot him with our shuriken, or we can use the sword when he or she lands. So yeah, that's the usual fight. So usual kind of bit. Dragon's on the ground now, so I'm just going to use my sentient sword to finish it off, and then we'll see where we get to. And there it goes. So that is the dragon fight, and there's a lot of Endermen who are very, very interested in me right now. However, this is not the only thing we need from this particular thing. Let me just wait till that's actually finished so that, yeah, the noises stop. Okay, let's play a game with our Enderman. And can I get everything? There's the dragon egg. Fine, I'll remove that and pick that up later. Is there anything else I want? So in age 4, it does say you need to go to the end. It's here, enter the end. Go and find Chorus, which is going to be on one of the other islands. Chorus fruit on top of trees. Defeat the dragon and mine the biotite in the end to use Ender alloy creation. Good, and then it's the Ender crafter and stuff like that from there on. And that also is probably going to be needed for the presses. Let's just check what the presses need, because we're in a Skylock map. It's A2 stuff. Okay, so they need to be assembled from purple block, which is popped chorus fruit, which is why we need the chorus fruit. But once we have it, we can put it in bonsai pots, and we don't have to worry about going getting any more. So yeah, let me just move you for a second and grab myself a torch. There we go. And go and find out where it moved to. And then I'll go and pick it up. And we'll bring it back later in case we want a dragon mill of some kind. And I normally get this wrong in actually putting this in the right place, but I shall do this correctly this time for a change, and put the torch underneath. Then knock at the block, and there we go. We have a dragon egg. Good. I don't need to do anything else other than go and find a chorus fruit. Now, well, let's just go and check. I forgot to mark the entrance, and I need to do that. But there is also islands around. This is the end, but it is the end still in a Sky Island kind of pack, which is kind of cool. I'm just wondering if these have anything. These are purpurite stone. Okay. If these have anything unique on them, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'll see you back at the base. And I just went straight east, but as you normally expect, there are outer islands out here where you can pick up the chorus fruit on top of trees. So I just wanted to show those. And otherwise, we've got the biotite ore. And we're back home with the Ender biotite, with everything else all put away and everything neat and tidy, and we're ready to pretty much finish today's episode. So we've got Creative Flight, we've got the Ender Dragon, all in one episode. And next, I think we're going to be heading towards Pneumaticraft, which is down at the bottom here. We have to do that to build some stuff. And then in here we have the Ender Alloy, and that was also going to take the Arc Furnace that's needed to actually get down here towards... well, Galacticraft and heading to the moon. So yes, lots of stuff there. And that's all moon stuff as well, I think. And then there is the AE2 stuff here, but we don't really have access to the AE2 good stuff here. And refined storage, I think this pack is on 1.12. Refined, let's just see if the crafter's around. Crafter, doesn't look like it. No, so we don't have auto crafting certainly at the moment. And let's just look up controller. Do we have the controller from those? Those are Futura blocks. That is not going to be helpful. We may not even have the controller at this particular age either. So we're going to have to figure out how to actually do that. But in 1.12, I always find there's an annoying problem with refined storage because there's a bug. And the bug happens and it crashes your world when it happens. And it's fixed in versions after that. So before, you know, in 1.12 or before... I'll tend to just go for AE2, but refined storage is a nice, easy to manage storage option for the packs later than that. So yeah, I'm gonna probably stick to AE2 for this one. But when we move on to 1.16 packs, which is probably coming soon, then refined storage is an easy option. You don't have to deal with types and numbers in the disks in refined storage. However, it's not quite as dense in terms of you can't fit as many in one block spaces when you're doing cabling and all kind of stuff like that. So there are pluses and negatives, which is normally leads me to prefer AE2, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can post your comments down below on which ones you prefer. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. A good point to stop for today before we get into new stuff with new Mattercraft, which means probably going to be exploding some iron somewhere to get that started into steel and is it going to be? Let's just have a look. New Mattercraft. New Mattercraft. Looks like all the stuff's available in New Mattercraft. Yeah, there's a lot of blocks available, including basically the pressure tubes and everything else. So we'll need to build the multi-block, which is the big pressure chamber. But to get that, we have to explode some stuff with TNT. But that'll be in the next episode or the one after, perhaps. And we'll see what we get through on this stage. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, feel free to subscribe and click on the bell down below for notifications for future episodes. More important than that, though, click a like on the video, and indeed leave comments for all of your fellow players. Tips, tricks for Age 4. Go! Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.